Afternoon. Please welcome Antonio Banderas, Elena Anaya, and Pedro Almodóvar.
Richard, don't you think that they are like in shock?
They look okay, they're smiling. Pedro, many people have said the film is a departure, and yet there's much in here that those of us who've watched and loved your films can really certainly see.
Soy tuya. Estoy hecha a tu medida. Y acabas de decirme que te gusto.
He dicho eso.
Sé que me miras. Desde que me trajiste aquí prácticamente vivimos en la misma habitación.
In this movie, I approach one genre that I didn't before, which is the horror movies. I don't mean this is a horror movie, but there is a part inside that really belongs to that genre. Subjects, like, for example, transsexuality, I think I treat it here in a completely different way than before, even the opposite way than before. I mean, in my former movies, I did it supporting these people that they have to struggle just to become what they really are. The identity theme, it was already in that movies, but here it's treated like a punishment. And thinking of this like a punishment, I think is the more awful nightmare you can imagine.
Do you believe that there is a difference, an essential difference between men and women?
There is. It was very important when the character of Elena just arrives to her village and to the boutique of his or her mother. She realized that doesn't matter what her appearance is, that is completely different and completely manipulated, that she is the same person than 6 years ago before leaving the same place. That was very important for me. That, the identity, the soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, but it's in terms of gender too. I mean, be feminine or masculine, in something inaccessible, in something not incorporeal. In this movie, really, I try to fight against my sense of humor because I ask myself to do it or to be the more austere I can be, which is not completely austere because it's not in my nature.
¿Estás puesta?
¿Puesta?
¿Que si te has metido pastillas?
Ah, sí. Cipralex 20, 100 miligramos de Prax, 2 gramos de tranquimacin. Bueno, Reinol ya no tomo. Hay lírica, claro, eso.
Hostias. Yo también voy hasta el culo.
¿Hasta el culo?
Sí.
Because, almost every sequence, I think not only in every sequence in one movie, but also in every situation in life, even in the more tragic moments, humor can be present. Y siempre en los elementos que muestran claramente el hecho de sobrevivir es donde más fácil resulta introducir algo de humor.
And actually, in those sort of areas in which one strives hardest to survive, it's almost easiest in those little moments to find some aspect of humor.
At least in a Mediterranean country like Spain or Italy, that this is the place that I belong.
This viewer said there are many cultural references, and he points out he felt there were echoes of Pygmalion and Frankenstein, and was wondering if those were in your mind.
There is one movie that it was more present than all this, and all this reference, that it was Ojos sin Rostros, Eyes Without a Face, directed by Georges Franju. And if I have to make a parallel between the Mad Doctor that Antonio acts, is more like I think it was Pierre Brasser, the doctor, the Mad Doctor, that is in Eyes Without a Face. But also, always it was the theme of the creation. In this case, it was just trying to recreate the same women that he loved with a new skin. But it was, I mean, for me, it was a reflection of, let's say, any kind of creation. Even I identified myself a lot sometimes in the character of Antonio. When I figure out myself, just deciding the clothes, deciding the makeup, deciding the hair, all the small details with the characters, and I build one character through them. I mean, taking the advantage of their body. You know, also, this Mac Doctor has a relation with a filmmaker in the way I behave and I live my profession. That is controlling everything and building new characters through someone else just in front of me. And that they are something that I dream.
Antonio, what did you feel about the Doctor after playing him? Could you come to understand him or sympathize in any way, or does he remain a monster for you?
In the rehearsal period, Pedro was very keen to make me act in a very specific way. He wanted my acting to be very contained, very cold, to create a character almost without limits, no parameters, so he's unreadable. You cannot really expect what is going to be the next step that he's going to take. Revealing very little and definitely not making a wink of an eye to the audience or just commenting something that actually was going to be in the architecture of the movie, in the narrative process that he was actually developing. And in order to do so, I never established a kind of morality judgment of the character. Pedro didn't want any of those monstrous things. He wanted me to be absolutely natural at any moment, because in the mind of this psychopath, actually, what he's performing is not punishable. I think actually she, at some point of the movie, she should be thankful that I made her better than she was. And probably science and the world should be thankful to me, because I advanced science and I took them to a new step that they didn't dare to take. So in his mind, he plays like that. He totally has a disaffection for anybody's pain. He's a megalomaniac, basically.
Elena, what did you think of Vera when you first saw the film?
Well, the first time I watched the film, I spoiled the whole projection because I started to cry the minute one.
Yeah, it's true.
Like an idiot baby. That's what happened. And then, you know, I saw it second time, then I saw really the movie. I loved it so much, which sometimes doesn't happen, as you can imagine. And I loved so much what Pedro did with everything. It was, you know, beautiful, and I loved the character so much. I admire so much the desire of this character to live, the desire of a survivor, and the strength, incredible determination to keep going, and how she learned to wait during all those crazy, ugly 6 years of punishment with this doctor.
Antonio, Elena, and of
Thank
course
you.
Pedro, thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.